You want to know something that I just have in my mind that I can't really shake? You ever wonder if they lied on Satan slash Lucifer? Now, before you swipe off, really think about it for a moment. Because with angels and human beings, evil is evil, no matter who you are. And let's also remember that we breathe life into whatever we believe. So if we believe that there is someone slash something called Satan slash Lucifer that is responsible for all evil, that is true because you believe that. However, comma, if we're talking about the actual being that is presented in the freaking Bible, that story might have went a whole lot differently now that I think about it. Right? Because it's a rebellion. I can't shake that feeling that the victor is always the one who writes the history. So what are the chances that the original Bible was way more doctrinated than we thought? And I'm gonna push it further. What if there was a rebellion? And what if there was a quote unquote God that was served? However, comma, it wasn't the one that we know. You feel what I'm saying? Because what's so freaking hilarious and counterintuitive is the fact that a bit of my faith is the fact that I know that there is a divine source. However, comma, we never taken into consideration how there may be another being who claims to be God. And again, blasphemy is blasphemy. However, what if now, what if those fallen angels are really the heroes of the story, but they lost because they became fallen and they produced giant children, which thus got wiped off the map, not knowing that some of those giant children were small and thus could be mistaken for human beings. You know what I'm saying? Almost like dinosaurs and how they got wiped out, and yet the ones that were small enough to hide, or the ones that were small enough to get to certain places, got to pass into the next life, if you understand what I'm saying. All of that to say this: multiple things can be true at the same exact time. And this is coming from a person who believes in the divine and who believes that a person named Yeshua did die on the cross and come back to life. However, when we're talking about the story of who we consider the devil, and when we say that, are we talking about a spirit slash angel that was fallen and turned wicked, or are we talking about the natural processes of how a human being's mind can think? And let me push it further because there was this one thing in this show that just stuck with me. I don't know what it was, but it was the character Lucifer was like, I don't have to do anything. Y'all do that on y'all own, and y'all say that it's me when it's you all. And that's something that truly hammered something down in my freaking head. The fact that human beings would rather blame certain things on external environments or external things when really you are the one that's responsible internally. Granted, there are certain things that happen to you that are not your fault and that you can't change. However, comma, certain things that you can change, that you can deny, that's you. So when people say, "Oh, this Satan slash you Lucifer," nah, that's your desire that wants to commit that, that wants to do that. But it's up to you to have restraint. Otherwise, you commit said sin. You understand what I'm saying? Dang, 336. When you realize that so many human beings are gonna commit evil things because it feels good to them, you as quote unquote a devil don't have to do much. All you gotta do is just sit back and let them do them. Because in your head, in your mind, you're like, why would I put my effort into doing all this when they're automatically going to do it? I don't even gotta push them. But the idea that it was something else is the manipulation because he doesn't have to do anything else at that point, making it everyone else's idea of, oh, I got to serve blank blank blank, or oh, blank 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 is doing this to me. And that's the greatest manipulation ever because that means that you have no control. You have no modularity in your freaking mind, body, and spirit. Because if you did, you would have been able to realize that that was an emotion inside of you instead of someone else's. And so rather than blaming it on a spirit slash entity that probably doesn't care because he knows slash they know that they are gonna probably 10 times out of 10 get that out of you anyways because you are just that likely to do it. So they don't gotta lift a finger. And if you ain't gonna do it, someone else will that's desperate enough. And we should look at it more as, okay, this is what I'm desiring. So let me try to stop myself. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where truth lies in. Because once you know how to modulate yourself, once you know how to self control, now you start to see whether it was internal or external. And once you see whether it was internal or external, now you start to see, so someone really was trying to do something to me. Or, oh, something slash this thing actually had nothing to do with it. And that was all just me. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah, multiple things can truly become true at the same exact time based on your belief patterns. And the moment that you switch what you believe is the moment that you yourself can get all the things that God has in store for you. But it's in the restraint of not committing said thing, said sin, that you truly understand what's yours and what's someone else's that is trying to do it so freaking much. And I'm going to leave it at that because no more needs to be explained. And if you truly did listen to the end of this, drop me a freaking green heart because you know this is the most controversial thing that I've ever, I wouldn't say the most controversial thing, but this is controversial to so many people. As a matter of fact, drop a purple star, a purple heart with a star specifically, if you listen to this all the way through. So that way, those of them who are so emotional, specifically, I ain't got to explain why, but you know why. I should be out, adios.